Dictionary.com describes an unplanned approach as impromptu, done without preparation, unpremeditated, done without intention, random, done without order, unintended, done without purpose, unwitting, done without awareness, or spontaneous, done without thought. Sounds about right. Well, now that we have that established, let's start the show.
Welcome back. Today, Kyle, doing all right? Good week?
Doing well. Had a pretty good week. I'll tell a quick story before you guys get into this because it kind of made me laugh on the way here. I go in the gas station to get something to drink, and I'm walking over to the cabinets that's got I drink Diet Mountain Dew. Walk over to the cabinets that hold all that, and Santa Claus, you know the guy. You know, he's around 60 and he's got the white beard and wants to be Santa Claus every year. That guy, yeah. Right? So he's standing in front of the cabinet I want in, which no big deal. But he's not getting anything. He's watching everybody else in the store and making sure those glass doors are closed, but he's got to do it. His station is in front of the Diet Mountain Dew. And I'm like, okay, what are you doing? I'm a little irritated, but it's one thing. It's not really that big a deal. He sees me after a minute and wanders off. I'm like, okay, so I grab mine, and I'm thinking, we're going to be here for a little bit, so why don't I get a fountain, which I have right in front of me.
Right.
So I walk over to the fountain thing, and he's there. And what is he making at 60? At 60 years old, what is he making?
$18 an hour.
Suicide.
Oh, is
suicide. He's making a suicide. He's just wandering up and down, and he's like deciding, like, do I need a splash of cherry Pepsi?
Dude, you combine all that, it all tastes like shit.
Shuffling back and forth, like, what the hell do I want? And I'm just sitting there going, come on, man. I just want to get my stuff and just go.
That's hilarious.
So he gets done with that. So I fill mine real quick, and then he's at the roller food, and he's just staring at it. Longingly, I'm not sure. Right?
Healthy guy.
Right, so I get my drink, put the lid on it, turn around, and start to walk to the line. He sees me and runs to the line to get in front of me. And I was like, oh, my God.
It's going to be one of those kind of days.
Yeah, I'm going to go over and just tip over his sleigh on my way out of the gas station. He was killing me.
I'll get those elves.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing at each of those, one thing wouldn't have meant anything to me, but it's the same guy, three. It just, come on, man. But
there's all kinds of kinds, and they're all being exposed at this point. You know, everything's going crazy. But so today, I'm super excited. Kyle, I know you're excited as well. We've got a guy that I actually look up to. He doesn't know that probably, but
the haircut.
It's the haircut. He's bald. Similar. He's bald too. But he's a police officer and a baseball guy, like Kyle and I are. He actually plays, none of us play anymore, right? So
correct.
Yeah, he gave it up.
You gave it up?
I did, yes. This last summer was my last.
Okay.
How many muscles did you pull in that last summer there, 50-year-old?
How many do we have in the body?
Right.
Right.
I don't know muscles. What, 300 and some odd bones? I should know that.
No, it's less.
Is it?
Uh-huh. Did you know that? You're born with like 305, and then when you're an adult, you've got like 280.
I didn't. Hey, you.
How you like
can go
that
back
fun
to med
fact?
school.
That's a fun
hey,
fact.
You go back to med school and get your 5th-year eligibility.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, I know Rob. Rob and I played at the same college at one point. Not together. He's a little bit older than I am, but played for the same coach. But Rob we invited Rob because he's got to have some great police stories. We know that. And the baseball stories are plentiful as well. So with that, I'll go ahead. Rob, if you want to introduce yourself.
Okay.
How long you been doing what you do and all the good stuff?
Yeah, so I'm Rob. I've been a police officer I'm in the 27th year. I cannot believe I'm saying that.
Yeah, that's old.
But celebrated 26 in December. And, baseball forever, right? So baseball, just like you two, I'm sure, at 4 or 5 years old or probably even earlier with the dad, brother, and all that. And, just as far as growing up in high school, good team and, good coach and all that stuff. It was Mount Vernon High School in Hancock County. And, I had two goals in life. And one was to play baseball until my body wouldn't let me anymore. Right. And then obviously that meant I'd love to be in the big leagues if I could. And the second was while in high school, my sister was dating a state trooper. And I thought it was really cool that when we're playing this game, right? It's 4 PM on a Wednesday, and there's this trooper car sitting out there in the parking lot at Mount Vernon. I'm like, who's that guy? So I found out that this guy's dating my sister. I thought, dang, they can go to baseball games and stuff. That's awesome.
Right.
So, I wanted to be a trooper from there. That's it.
And he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
And not get in trouble for it.
I am the law.
Yeah, I mean, it's freedom. It was all about that freedom. Like he's able to do this, and then all of a sudden he takes off, and the lights are on. He's going to some crash that's in the vicinity. But I thought, man, that's a pretty cool job. And then I got to know the guy, right? And he's kind of the mentor a little bit. He's good people, and cool job.
So you get out of high school. How do you end up at junior college?
Yeah, so I guess it was my senior year. It was 91. We were, as a group, we were like going into the sectional at 21-3, 9th in the state, whatever. Wow. We were a good team, right? We had real good pitching and good hitting and all. And this coach, he saw our stats in the paper, in the Indianapolis Star. And there was, it was just as hillbilly as you can get from a high school level, right? We were JUCO high school players, basically. Right. Literally a picture in the Indianapolis Stars, and I'm hitting batting practice, literally pair of shorts, no shirt.
That's right. Hey, sun's out, guns out. Right?
It was
No
the
shirt.
90s, late 80s,
That's
early
right.
90s.
Pair of gray cut-off.
Hair flowing.
You just needed cut-off jeans, man.
Gray cut-off sweatpants for shorts and a pair of cleats and footy socks, and I'm hitting with a helmet on. And our catcher in the shot, he's all the gear on, but he's wearing shorts too, no shirt. But our stats were there, and I think we had 4 or 5 guys over 400, and we were just a good team, right? So this coach sees those stats, and there was a guy from New Palestine at the time that that was our big rival, but his father, he got on this team called the Indiana Express, and his dad, this kid's dad, he was the rival, but somebody asked at the parent meeting, hey, we needed a couple more pitchers. And this guy from New Pal called me up and said, hey, I got this team that my son's going to play for, and I told him you could pitch. And so that got me to, essentially travel baseball for the first time for me.
Mm-hmm. That's when it was brand new. That was before the Indiana Bulls and everything.
Right.
That was the first I ever heard of that.
Yep, you got it. And so with that, this coach was kind of a silent partner in that team a little bit.
He was, yep.
And he came to a couple practices, I think, that we had, and he's like, "Hey, I want you to come down to."
He's saying, "I don't give a shit. Nobody's gonna know where it is."
I want you to come over into Illinois and check this school out that I coach at. And so, going back to that photo in the paper, myself and that catcher, we both went and visited, and we were. Next thing we were there.
Did he make sure that you were there after the beans were harvested so you could actually see the building when you pulled off of the road?
See from afar.
Have you ever seen it? So literally. So I'll tell you how he got me.
Yeah.
First of all, I know him. You know how I know him. I'm not going to go into all of that. But he was getting married. Oh. And we were invited to the wedding because my dad coached with him. And this was his first college coaching job. So we go to the wedding and we're going over to that town. And this is the first time I've ever been in that town. This town, I don't even know what the population is. It has a marathon factory and a candy bar factory outside of that, and a great golf course. Yeah. Outside of that, a state penitentiary, and where we went to school.
Like several of those colleges did.
It wasn't uncommon in the third inning to hear, please report to cell block C. And everyone's like, what the hell is that? Yeah. Like 4 of them had a penitentiary behind them. So we go to this wedding, and why he's getting, you're married, you're married, I'm married. You don't have a lot of time before the wedding because everything's going on. Yeah. He tells my dad, grab Jason, let's get in the car. I want to go show you the school. And my dad's like, hey, man, you're getting married in like an hour. He goes, it won't take very long. Won't take very long. Right. Like, I didn't realize it was this school. We pull down the road, we go over the railroad tracks. You take a left into the parking lot, and I'm like, what the hell is this? No idea. And I might have been in 8th grade, maybe freshman year when he got married. So he he's given us the quick tour. It's got an natatorium, a swimming pool, not a natatorium.
Right.
It's got a cafeteria with an auditorium, and then it's got a building where all the classes are. That's it. That's smaller than my high school.
Yeah.
And I went to a small high school. Yeah. And so he shows us, and it literally only takes 15 minutes to take the tour, man. This isn't IU or Indiana State or anything. We're in and we're out, and he's in the van, and he's like, so what'd you think? I didn't realize at the time that this was, hey, down the road, this could be something. I'm like, that looks awful.
Right.
I said, you can't even see. So he gets out and gets married. And my dad asked me, so what if that was an option? I said, no way. No chance. I end up at that
I'm
place.
not going there, and I'm not playing for that guy.
And we all probably thought that, right? And you get over there, and it's the best time of your life.
Yes,
and then come to find out that he's instrumental in everybody that made it through his program.
100%.
Some didn't. I mean, I was called everything to everything without getting too verbal about it. But it's one of those, it's kind of like a Bob Knight thing, man. The people that play for him and make it through love him. And he's as loyal as they get. So
yeah, and it's all these years later. And I mean, it's still, if I needed a piece of advice, I'm like, should I call him? Probably should,
He checks on people. I know one of my teammates had an issue in life, and I called him and said, man, you need to call so-and-so. You need to get a hold of him. He's struggling right now. And he did, and the guy's turned his stuff around. That's pretty cool. So I've got great stories from junior college baseball. I mean, it's exactly what you'd think it would. It is the inmates running the asylum, no pun intended, most of the time. And we were talking about it before we came on air. Rob and I both have a couple guys that played with him, played with me, and it's like a fraternity anyway. If we didn't play with each other, it's really odd the way it is down there. But what was great story about junior college?
Okay, so let me go back to what you were just saying first, and I'll get onto that. I have more friends, like as far as all these years later. Mm-hmm. I have the guys at that junior college. I've got more of them that I still communicate with than the 4-year school that I went to. I mean, I've got 2 from Purdue that I still associate with a lot, as often as I can. But I've got 10, from junior college. I don't know why that is, but that small school, junior college, all that.
Well, you're an outsider, and it's you against the world.
That's true. You instantly have, in our case, 25 or 30 brand new friends. Right. It's just wild how that works. And you hang out every night. I mean, every stinking night.
Studying.
Oh, yeah.
Studying. Do a lot of studying.
Yep, study how many calories are in your Red Dog.
Yes. Yeah. So, freshman year. And that's the beauty, too, is that you're a freshman in junior college. You're just like you're a junior. At a 4-year, you're going to play.
Right.
Even though you're, quote unquote, just a freshman. So, freshman year was cool. I did have a buddy that went with me from Mount Vernon High School. So that was kind of nice to have that little familiarity there to kind of fall back on if needed. And
when you really feel uncomfortable, you both just take your shirts off.
Yeah, sure. We take our shirts off and we play wiffle ball.
You guys do look good with this.
Hey, what do you say, man? Just take them off.
We get a handy cam in the living room, cup ball. But no, so the funniest thing I think it was certainly my sophomore year because, when we got there was, let's just say there were 30. There might have been more, but 28 of the guys chewed tobacco, and just myself and my roommate didn't. And we're at Vincennes my freshman year at Vincennes, and there's a pouch of Levi Garrett sitting on the bench between us. We're sitting, our team's up, so we're not in the field. And this roommate's like, "Hey, you want to try this stuff, man? Everybody else does,
right?
Jump off a cliff, whatever." And I said, "Yeah, we might as well."
Right.
So we just pocket it, right? And this is before I was a police officer. I was stealing shit from teammates,
right?
And so we get home that night. We just have a little apartment, and here we go, right? It's our first taste of chewing tobacco.
Right.
And
the good stuff.
All I can remember is the burn. Burn, it just burned more than anything. It didn't get sick or whatever. You had to spit a lot, and it burned. So we threw it out in 10, 15 minutes, but it got its hooks into us.
Oh, really? That quick?
Yeah, man.
God, the chewing tobacco, I could not.
So fast forward a year, and we're same place, Vincennes. we had this dude on the team named Walt Crace, and I'll name him.
Too bad, Walt.
No, because he's probably laughing if he hears this. It was great. I'm getting ready to go back out to right field. If you remember, Vincennes, right field was just beyond it was like a big grass area, a common area, if you will.
That's where they did their intramurals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Bowling alley was to the left.
Yes.
Right.
So
I know this as well.
yeah, I'm waiting to go back out. 2 outs, and I'm looking for my chew because I'm going to put one before I go. I couldn't find it. So this Walt goes, "Here, Rob," in his beautiful Eastern Kentucky accent. "Try this."
Hey, y'all, watch this.
Yeah, and it was it was homemade. It came from like their land.
Oh yeah, so we're not fucking around.
They harvested it, and it was like a twist, and it was swimming. It was in a Ziploc, and it was swimming in, I assume it's moonshine. It was just basically.
Oh
like
my
it was in
God!
Tea. It was in tea, right? Iced tea in there, and I took a big bite, and off I go. Because I've been chewing for a year. I'm like, I'm fine. So we're the third base dugout, and I'm out and right. So I had the farthest run, whatever. Myself, and probably Chris Short are playing catch before the inning starts. Our pitcher's warming up, and it hits me. I'm like, I'm in trouble here. Everything
You get 2 throws in.
Everything on the peripheral is turning gray, and I'm getting high right out there in the right field. So I know this coach is, I don't know that he's watching me per se, but I'm thinking I'm gonna throw up, and he's second. So I turn toward the intramural fields. I turn toward the outfield fence, and I put my feet together and knees, thinking if I throw up straight down to
He
my
might not
toes,
see it.
he may not see it.
Right.
Well, everybody saw it.
It's on film.
So I spit it out, and we played the inning, and thank God nothing got hit to me. And I get back in there, and this coach, he grabs me by the collar, and here we go. "You're embarrassing the program. You're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing everybody." And
Sounds right.
That was the end of it.
I wish you would have thrown up on him when he grabbed you. That would have been because there's a story that will come out years when I played for him in Fort Wayne. We were practicing indoors, and he chewed too. Mm-hmm. And the last guy always had to slide, right? When we were doing bases, always had to slide. And I was always the last guy because I was a captain. And as I'm coming around third, I didn't realize that he had spit all over this plate. So I go to lay it out, and I'm like, "What is that?" And I slide right through that shit. That's the difference between him then and now.
Right.
Now he wouldn't be getting away with that shit.
Right.
But everybody, I had the same thing when I was over there in Illinois. My buddies dared me to go up to the plate with a full can of chew in my mouth. So it was when Spearmint Skull came out. First of all, it tastes like shit. Mm-hmm. But because it was new, everybody was like, try it. It's like Goldschlager. It's got gold in it. Might as well drink it.
It should be good.
Sucks, and you overpaid for it, So I'm up there, and I shit you not, having a buzz while somebody's throwing 90-some miles an hour at you. Not a good fit. I remember thinking I popped up. I think I popped out, and I was woozy. And I remember thinking, well, I didn't get hit. I didn't strike out. I can explain this. I can explain a shitty at bat. I can't explain if I'm throwing up or anything like that. But that wasn't too uncommon, the throwing up at junior college, actually.
No,
not at all.
No, you say that, it reminded me of another story. Not baseball related, but not thinking anybody can see story.
Yep.
Right? You're turning around, don't think anybody can see. Well, Indiana State, the hospital, the mental hospital that's on Washington Street, years ago. I'm driving deliveries. Central State.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, Central State. I'm driving deliveries back and forth through there. And one day I'm driving by, and they're having like recess or whatever. And the guys are all what the hell do you call it? Yeah, time on the grounds, whatever you want to call it, right? And there's a guy standing with his back to a tree.
Oh, boy.
Pants down, just going at it. And he's looking back at the building to make sure nobody can see him. But he's facing the street.
Bro.
Recess.
Yeah, nobody can see me. Well, except everybody driving up and down Washington Street.
They won't remember me, though.
They
won't. They didn't get a facial look.
I don't think anybody saw, though.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And there is a time where we can tell some great stories. I mean, you guys lived in apartments at junior college and houses, right? We had a housing complex that was brand new. So multiply what he's talking about with the camaraderie to the point where we all lived in the same neighborhood.
They were within pitching wedge of each other
I mean,
all day and all night.
it's like being with brothers. There were some you didn't like and you were fighting with. It was, but boy, when the townies would show up to fight you, it was all hands on deck, man. It was crazy. And
your class, I mean, everybody's class, but yours in particular had some hammers when it came to fighting people.
I know who you're talking about.
I know.
I know who you're talking about.
Gosh.
This guy, we should have just called him the nose exploder.
Yeah.
Because when he hit somebody, I swear to God, there was no nose left. And I saw him do it 3 times. Yeah. And you know what's funny about that? Knowing him now and how he was a great fighter. When I first met him, he didn't like me. Oh. This is what I found out later.
That's actually kind of a common thing.
Well, I'm a smart ass.
It's a theme.
And it is. And I get that quite a bit. I'm okay with that now. But he didn't. And somebody told me years later, said, that first trip, because we were playing summer ball together before I went down there. Oh, okay. And we were in Jasper at a lake house of one of probably your teammates back in the day.
Yeah, probably.
And evidently we went to a party, and the party people were talking shit, and I ended up on the wrong side of that, where I may have been talking to him as well. And they calmed him down, and 3 years later I found out, dude, you about died that night, just to let you know. And I wouldn't have known. I would have been Billy Badass. Yeah, I can. And after seeing what he did to people, I'm like, man, I'm glad that somebody was smart enough to go, don't kick his ass. He's 5 foot nothing, 100 nothing. You will kill that guy. But this dude could go into a bar and it looked like something out of a movie, man.
Yeah.
He would
Roadhouse.
That's exactly.
Every time he went into a bar, they filmed Roadhouse.
That's exactly right.
I got one about him, and we're off track a little bit.
That doesn't matter.
But this is. And this is the problem. I wasn't there. I wish I'd have been there. But my best buddy told me about this. He was a roommate. And there was, typical college small house with strobe light, and pretty much that's it. Everybody's hanging out partying. It was a party.
Good times.
And down the hallway from the kitchen, this guy's playing euchre or whatever. Down the hallway from the kitchen, which is completely dark, just a little strobe, his buddy's having a problem down there with somebody. Well, this guy couldn't see who was down there. So he hit everybody on the way to the problem. Just
I've seen him do that,
actually. If I hit everybody, I'll eventually get
I will get the right guy.
And I guess when the lights came on, there was 4 or 5 girls just holding their faces. That's awesome.
I've seen it firsthand because we had the first week I was at junior college. We are having these houses were brand new A-frame houses. Mm-hmm. I mean, nobody's lived in them, and we have a party, and some shit breaks out, and he hears about it, and he comes in, and like to your point, whoever's in the way of his target is going to not be in the way. Yeah. So all of a sudden, it looked like a Tasmanian devil. I remember standing on the stairs, looking down, and just shit flying everywhere, and people falling over. I'm thinking, what? And holes in the wall. I remember when the coach showed up the next day to do our, he had heard about it. We had put posters up and shit. And he's like, well, this doesn't look too bad. And we started taking the posters up. Where you went up the stairs, you went up 3 stairs and then up to the left. And evidently this was hollow. Uh-huh. When you made the turn, it was hollow because somebody had gotten knocked through that wall. And they were sitting in the wall, and we had to find a body length poster to put over that thing. And you can imagine that was actually the other coach, the littler guy, and it was his first year, so that was probably the first thing he had to deal with in his head coaching career.
Right. This is on you, Billy.
And when you're the baseball team in a small town. Everybody knows about everything. Anywhere you go, everybody knows you're not from there. You're an outsider. Pretty interesting shit.
You look like an outsider. I mean, you don't look like you're from Illinois.
No,
even though you totally do.
Yeah, right.
You carry yourself a little different or something.
Rob can take his shirt off in the Walmart. Yeah, man, right. Hey, we can fit right in here. He still does. Well, this place was so small.
He doesn't have a shirt on now.
I'm the machine. What's that? The comedian's
Kreischer.
Yeah. Bert Kreischer, the machine.
So I go from junior college to, I always say I got lucky, but it was kind of unlucky too. I had a really good tournament in the fall of my sophomore year. Mm-hmm. I want to say it was in, I know it was in Tennessee.
Austin
I'm not
P.
sure where. I
Probably
don't
Austin.
think I ever played there.
Okay.
It was like Johnson City area.
Okay.
It whatever. So I had a really good tournament, and our coach had told us, because this is, his job was, and he told us, my job is to get you to the 4-year school, right? So he said, we're in the fall, and Division I programs don't play in the fall. So they're going to come, they'll be at this tournament, these coaches. So, I'm running out, doing everything I can do to hustle everywhere. Because,
no puking today.
No, I didn't throw up. Matter of fact, I probably didn't even chew, just so I wouldn't.
Just so you wouldn't.
I'm not taking any chances.
Yeah.
No chances.
And, that's the thing you can control, right? If you guys coach, you tell kids, you can control the hustle.
Yes.
You can't control whether you go for 4.
Right.
But you can control how fast you get to right field or wherever your position is and back in, and you hit a ground ball to the pitcher, and if you're sprinting across first base still by the time you've been out for 3 seconds,
right,
good for you. So I hustled everywhere I went, and I happened to have a couple of good games in front of this guy, and he said Carolina baseball on his sweatshirt, and we were all like, whoa,
right?
This is the
Sure.
dude. And there were other sweatshirts there too, if you know what I mean, colleges, but
that one stuck.
Yeah.
Baby blue sticks out.
Yeah. So he spoke to our coach after the game. I don't know the rules back then, but apparently he couldn't speak to me.
Right.
And wrote a little note on the back of a flyer, and I was like, me? Like, he's looking at me? So my dad and I we go to North Carolina, and it doesn't matter if he said, I'm going to give you a 1% scholarship.
Right.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
Right?
You guys are still in the ACC, right? Yeah,
Right. So we were taken aback by the field, everything. It was just ridiculous how fantastic the place was. So we, my dad and I were like, yeah, we're here.
Yep.
I was going to come in and probably play right field as a junior. And so the signing period comes, and I sign, and I'm going to North Carolina. And we play our spring season, which is how many games? 60-some games?
Right, yeah.
A lot.
Right. It's a lot.
And I think I only had like 5 home runs, right, in that number of games. And I had a little pop, right? I wasn't a great for average guy, but I had some pop. And this coach would call me. I hear that too.
One of my kids doing something
Like a jet.
crazy. We'll finish. We'll go ahead.
So he would call me once in a while, and this North Carolina coach, he'd say, "Hey, how's it going? How's this?" By the way, never asked about grades. And how are your power numbers? It was always about the power numbers. And I didn't have many to speak of it. Each phone call. So I finished junior college, right? And my plan is I'm going to North Carolina in a few months. And it gets to be, I want to say it was like July 15th or so. He calls the home phone here back in Indianapolis area. And he says, hey, we're having trouble getting you into school. I'm like, really? I know I filled out all that paperwork 5 months ago and sent it in. Well, all I can tell you is your application stuff just got on my desk like 2 days ago. So I don't know why it's so late. So he's putting this all on me. Mm-hmm. And in the end, he said, you can come here. But, I was like 45% scholarship. He said, it's gone. It's gone.
What a
because
dick.
We had to give it to somebody else. So, heartbroken,
Sure.
20 years old, I guess I was. And who do you call? Right?
You called him?
You call your junior college coach that you just, got done with. And, he was basically, where do you want to play? Because he's pissed too. Because, he's wanting me to go there. It's prestige for him, whatever.
Right.
And I said, just stay in Indiana. Right, just stay in Indiana. And he reached out to all the Indiana schools, and the only guy who was even willing to you got to remember, it was mid-July.
Late.
So we're starting soon.
They're scrambling.
Yeah, it was Purdue's coach. He said, yeah, hell, I'll go see him play. I'm not doing much, And I happened to be playing in Lafayette a couple of days later for Lebanon Merchants.
Oh, yeah, the Labono.
Yep. And I had a good game, right? I had a good game against the Lafayette Red Sox. And my dad, of course, went to meet the coach, sideline stuff. And he said, yeah, he's on the team. Like, just from what I've seen him to do tonight, he's on the team. There's no walk-on stuff. So, yeah, I got kind of hosed by North Carolina. And, I reached out to that assistant coach after he'd gotten fired a couple of years later. I said, what was that?
What actually happened?
He said, oh, yeah, it's kind of the oldest trick in the book. They sign you early. But on the back of that letter of intent says, if you are denied application to the university, this is void.
Yes.
So he said he was looking at you, another, outfielder, and some pitchers. And he said, so you remember those phone calls you were getting? That's him
Him checking and then measuring you against everybody else.
And
hang on just a sec. Well, you made it to the end. If you liked it, please rate and review it, and don't forget to tell your friends. And just imagine how good this thing would have been if we had an intentional approach. And if you didn't like it and you feel like you could do it better, well, smartass, reach out. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we have an email. It's unplannedapproach@gmail.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Bye.